I think that's what she means when she's saying, like, everything's felt so serious, and, like, this spiritual work has felt so serious because of Saturn and Pisces. But that's for a reason, and, like, I mean, that's, like, she's putting in words things that we've obviously, like, said for a long time, and in a different way, which is, like, basically what Mom always said was, you can't give to takers and be a giver. It can't work like that. So, like, and that's what I keep seeing with, like, this eclipse season and everything. It's like, I know there's a lot of good-hearted people out there, and, like, so much of humanity is, like, so blinded by, like, what in the fuck is actually going on. But at some point, it's good, and especially when the nodes shift into fucking Pisces and conjunct Saturn and Neptune, it's going to become very serious as to, like, what you are giving to. Are you giving to takers? Are you giving to the cabal? Are you giving to the dark and supporting it energetically? That's going to become a very serious thing. And so I think that's, like, what she's getting at, of, like, the seriousness of, like, when you make offerings and exchanges to, like, people, places, things, all of that. So it'll just be very interesting of, like, that eclipse, because the eclipse is conjunct to Neptune. Like, within, like, 2 degrees, I feel.
Right, because...
So, like, very prophetic in that way.
Yeah, because she kept saying prophecy over and over. Yeah, she's really intuitive. I see a lot of... And I've said this before to Aurora, like, their energies, I see that they're really similar.
Yeah.
And just the way that she writes and words things. And, and I feel like she's right, you know, just talking about a long way to say, like, boundaries. Like, who have you kept in contact? Who have you separated from? Like, you know, we've had this whole summer, which us two specifically, we have discussed this since the solstice in June. Before that, we've been talking about this since May, about how the summer was going to be this clearing out to prepare for the eclipses and large transits that are starting in 2025.
Yeah.
And at the end, when the nodes were going to start hitting the Pisces energy, like we had talked about this for months. And I agree, like, you know, what she's saying, like, you can't unring a bell.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with spirituality, where it's like, I know it's very difficult to navigate the physical side and be spiritual.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, you know, for everybody that if you feel like you should be taking a jump and you haven't, that's what she's saying, of, like, you cannot undo it. If you are awake and aware, you're going to naturally have to sever from what you are saying is the dark. You know what I mean? Like, it has to.
And it's almost like, it feels to me almost like, I was, like, wondering... Because I was telling Hope before we started, which we'll talk about this on the next episode, but, like, the new moon in Virgo, lo and behold, will be another line 6. And it's going to be in Gene Key 40, which the shadow is exhaustion, and the Siddhi is divine will, and it's one of the 7 seals. So that's a very interesting new moon, and we'll talk about it. But I was like, people are just going to, because at this point, we can't mentally convince people to, like, awaken and see things, right? Yeah. And decide, like, I can no longer work for this system, or I can no longer work this job. I can no longer support this and that. And that hasn't worked. I think in some ways it has. Some people did, like, get it and were like, okay, you know. But I think now it's almost like a body thing. It's like, because Pisces and Virgo are so much about the health and wellness of the body.
Physical body.
That, like, it's almost just going to become, like, they physically cannot... participate anymore because they will get sick.
I resonate with that.
And that's what I was thinking about the other day, because this whole September is such a focus on, like, health and wellness and, like, the vibrational match of everything. And funny enough, the new moon and the eclipse, both those gene keys rule the solar plexus.
Yeah, they're both in the solar plexus, right?
What if people just start, like, literally viscerally, like, they cannot, because they will just start getting ill. And that's the way that people are going to be forced to shift and, like, remove themselves from the participation.
I mean, it definitely resonates. And I mean, 40 being the highest, the city being divine will, and a lot of it being out of our control. 37, he talks a lot about the great mother, the divine mother, and that it's a very, like, mother gene key. It's all about compassion, the nurturing, the side of the Godhead that is the mother and all that. So I find that ironic that the Earth is going to be in the Divine Mother gene key. This woman we know named Amy Carlson, those two were two of her main 4 gene keys. So I feel that's very interesting. Obviously, you know, she put, you know, those 2 gene keys, if she, you know, those were her road to embodiment, and she wouldn't have been who she was if she didn't have those gene keys. We are also going to be shifting collectively out of 40, 37, 9, and 16, which were Mom's main 4 gene keys. They are currently our incarnation cross for the collective.
Yeah.
And that will change in 2027. So I find it interesting, again, like, her just really, like, and I know, like, you've said it too about the new moon and all of that, and, like, these feminine getting these pings, and she's talking about the Great Mother, and just a lot of this mother energy, Venus and Libra, Virgo season. And it's interesting how big it is energetically, and we have so much mother energy.
And I love that, like, so many other astrologers are picking up on the same thing that I kept getting through. So when I was writing my September update the other day, so I kept hearing, like, that September 1st begins the harvest portal. So the whole time Pluto's in Capricorn is like the harvest portal. That's what I wrote. And then I just, like, I find it so funny. And then, like, everybody else, like, I think Lauren Gorgo said something to that.
Yeah, she did.
And I was like, girl, like, everybody's getting it, that, like, there is going to be some type of harvest of, like, if you gave the right, if you, you know, gave to the right things and aligned with the right things, you will get that back. And if you kind of gave to the wrong things, then there's a different type of harvest, I fear.
It's very fascinating. Yeah, it's very interesting how channelers, astrologers,
they're all getting the same thing.
Yeah, she called 9/9 the birthing portal.
Ooh, interesting.
So it lines up to what you've said, what she said about, like, the harvest season and, you know, reaping these things. She said 9. I'm looking forward to her thing will come out probably around the new moon. I mean, like, the Lionsgate one was really good, but I'm really looking forward to this one.
And because what I found also interesting as a last tidbit about this new moon in Virgo is that, so the new moon will be in Virgo, Pluto will be back in Capricorn, and then we have Uranus in Taurus. So there's, like, this trine of Earth energy, which is, like, Earth is all about the manifestation of something into, like, physicality.
Interesting.
So, and then the Pisces eclipse obviously is just, like, very prophetic. Like she said, like, we all assumed it was going to be in Aries because that's where the eclipses are. But it actually works out that the full moon itself peaks in Pisces.
And then changes. I'm excited to see what that other girl said that brought up the supermoons or whatever. Like,